Artificial intelligence will eventually take all the jobs. And capitalism will not exist in the future. At least not the version that we have today. Because companies will not be able to make as much revenue or profits if no one has jobs. People need to have jobs and a source of income so they can spend money on products and services. And when people don't have jobs, that's less revenue for companies. And you can already see the effects of artificial intelligence or robots or self-checkout today. Even in manufacturing or warehouses where you have to package products is done by robots and artificial intelligence. Even customer service is starting to be automated away. And at first, there will be layoffs slowly. But as time goes on, those layoffs will accelerate. And it's going to be faster than people expect. At first, the economy might not even be affected as much, but over time, you will start seeing the impacts. It's gonna be gradual at first, but eventually it's gonna speed up. And you can already see the impacts of artificial intelligence, self-checkout, and robots today. When you go to fast food restaurants, there's already self-checkout. There's not as much cashiers anymore. Eventually, you'll have robots making the food, and you'll need less and less workers. The fast food industry is going to be impacted. Manufacturing is going to be impacted. Packaging and warehouses, those jobs are going to be affected. Those are going to be the first to go. Even new construction houses, construction workers, those jobs are going to go away because you can 3D print houses. You even got houses that they make in a factory and then you can assemble it on site. Taxi drivers, Uber drivers, they're all going to be affected because you're going to have self-driving vehicles. Even engineers are affected. You know, at one point, people thought that as long as you have an engineering degree, you'll be fine. There's plenty of jobs. Engineers are always in demand. But now, companies don't even want to hire entry-level engineers because artificial intelligence can do their job. And people ask, well, if you don't hire any entry-level engineers, in 20 to 30 years, when all the senior engineers retire, you're not going to have any experienced engineers to check the artificial intelligence work. But you think companies don't know that? It's just that in 20 to 30 years' time, they're hoping that when that time comes, robots will be able to check other robots' work. Much more efficient than any human mind would be able to check the work. And they could do it instantaneously. It might take years for an entry-level engineer to be good at his job. But artificial intelligence could learn it faster than any human could and know much more than any human. So then the question becomes, how will companies make money? How will companies have any customers if no one has jobs? And the answer is universal basic income. That's the only way that they can maintain a hierarchy of rich and poor. And the average person is just going to have a fixed income every month. And that's how the rich is going to stay rich and the poor is going to stay poor. Maybe in a more efficient way, because if robots can essentially work 24/7 and the amount of supply of that product goes up, then prices will eventually go down. But that's only when it gets to that stage. And people complain about work-life balance and how people don't want to start families anymore, and how the birth rate is going down, and how they won't have enough workers. You think companies don't know that? Why do you think they're investing so much money into artificial intelligence? Because in the future, it doesn't matter how much the birth rate goes down. They won't need as many workers as they do today. They already have a solution for that. So while people may complain and talk about you can't expect people to settle down and start a family, you think companies care? It's not going to affect them in the future. It's barely affecting them now. They're laying off people because they don't need as many workers as they did before. And artificial intelligence is like technology. It grows exponentially. It's gonna get better faster than what most people expect. And I believe what most people have to prepare for is when majority of the workforce is not needed anymore. A lot of people won't have jobs. And at the beginning, people are gonna suffer until the government figures out a solution, which is universal basic income. But the government has solutions, but they implement it so slow that people are gonna suffer for a long time before that problem even gets addressed. So it's gonna be hard for people at the beginning, especially in those early stages where artificial intelligence can do most people's jobs. And people have to prepare for that. And I feel like most people aren't, because most people are one paycheck away from being homeless. Most people are living paycheck to paycheck. They don't have a backup plan. They would struggle to survive if they didn't see their next paycheck. People struggle to put food on the table even if they had a job. And I feel like artificial intelligence taking over jobs, more layoffs, it's inevitable. I believe a lot of people are struggling right now, and it's just gonna get worse. And I feel like some people are oblivious to what's going on because right now they have a job, or right now it's not their problem because it's not them that's getting laid off. It's not them that's being affected. It's not them that's struggling. And for most people, it's not their problem until they experience it. Then they start to understand. Then they start to have a little bit of empathy. And it's sad. That's just how humans are designed. That's how the human mind works. Just selfish. I believe most people, especially nowadays, are just living day by day. They're just taking it one day at a time. Most people aren't even happy. And it's gonna get worse. Depression is gonna rise even more than it already is. I feel like most people are depressed now. They're going through depression or they're stressed out, and it's just going to get worse. There's 4 main things that people struggle with in life: finding a stable career, finding a healthy relationship, finding good friends, and family problems. And I believe that in the future, it could get worse, or it just becomes normal that artificial intelligence is your friend, and that people that can't find relationships will have a robot girlfriend. Their family will be artificial intelligence. Maybe for humans to compete, they have to be half robot and half human. Because what will give humans the edge is that we're conscious. We have emotions. We have feelings. And that can help us make different decisions. But that can also be a bad thing. Some people make bad decisions because of how they feel. And maybe a stable job in the future would just be advancing society even further by being more useful, by being half robot. The future is going to be interesting, and I believe that I will be able to see most of these advancements in my lifetime, just because I believe that artificial intelligence is like technology, and it's going to be exponential. And after a 10 to 20 year period, progress is just going to excel in a way that nobody expects. And the world will be a different place in 20 to 30 years. It's going to be a crazy ride because it's going to be ups and downs. People are going to suffer because they won't have jobs, and they're waiting on a solution that the government may or may not provide. And it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. Sometimes I feel like life is like a movie. There's going to be things that you expect and things that you don't. You kind of don't know how it's going to end. You think it's going to end a certain way, but it might surprise you.